Five Nights at Freddy's is a game that needs no introduction. Garry's Mod is a game that needs no introduction. One of the most popular PC games of all time versus one of the most popular horror games of all time, these are kind of inseparable games. Which is very weird, because on a surface level, they seem like they wouldn't be related at all, but, you know, people have dumped so much FNAF content on the Gmod workshop, and, I mean, it's just kind of wonderful. In the early days of the fandom, this was the easiest and most accessible way to experience Five Nights at Freddy's in 3D, and it was very, very cool to see. And although the maps, models, and add-ons have clearly advanced quite a substantial amount throughout the years, there's still something specifically endearing about those old add-ons. There's a certain charm to the 2014 through 2016 era of FNAF Gmod content, and I feel like it's something that can't really be recaptured. And I've wanted to do this video for quite a while, paying tribute to what I believe to be still the best Five Nights at Freddy's map in the entirety of Garry's Mod. And this is a map simply titled Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Or a series of maps themed around a specific Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. I wasn't actually done, I just wanted to be dramatic. Now, the original creator has actually taken down the original versions of these maps, so I'll be playing re-uploads for this video, but there is an updated version of the map posted by the original creator, which I will be checking out, as it is, to my knowledge, the only officially authorized way from the creator to play the map nowadays. But I feel like before we actually get into this map, it's important to look at what we had before it released. The boom is going to be real this time.
Number 3, no.
Now, one of the earliest playable pieces of FNAF fan content was actually the original Garry's Mod map, which was made by these people, and it's an extremely iconic thing in the fandom. And for being released so quickly after the original Gmod release, it is a surprisingly faithful recreation. It is a full recreation of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but within Garry's Mod. The full pizzeria is here, including some rooms that you can't see in the actual FNAF 1. This map, while it's not too fun to play sandbox on because it's very, very small, that's not what it was intended for. If you go into the backstage and turn off the power, you can go into the main office and the animatronics begin to move, and it basically just becomes a recreation of FNAF 1, which is very, very impressive within Garry's Mod, especially for the time. But there is a kind of an issue with it because it's not an entirely accurate recreation. I've played this mode for quite a bit, and I have no idea when the night is supposed to end, and I also have no idea how the character AI is supposed to work, cause like, they just seem to go to a random location on the map whenever they please. Like, Bonnie went straight from the show stage to the supply closet when I played, and I don't know how that happened. And I definitely wouldn't call it a worthy substitute to playing the actual version of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. That being said, not a bad recreation. And definitely the best way if you want to play FNAF with friends. Freddy's jump scare in the map is identical to his original FNAF 1 jump scare, however Bonnie and Chica did receive some special jump scares for the map, and they're neat looking, I guess. And Foxy also got an original jump scare because his original jump scare in FNAF 1 wouldn't really work in this context. But I think this map definitely holds up pretty well. The 1.6 NIS FNAF models are definitely dated, but they have an undeniable charm that really encapsulates the early days of the FNAF fandom, and I'm always happy to see them. There's also a visible outdoor area of this map, which is kind of barren and you can't actually go outside, but it's appreciated nonetheless. I don't know what's up with this guy in the window, but he's there.
Oh, hell no!
So to start off with this map, I think it's only appropriate to start looking at the main area where you spawn in the map, which is the parking lot of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now, this is a pretty nice looking area. There's cars parked out here, it's very large and expansive, there's plenty of room to run around, and I do really like the city skyline in the distance. It kind of makes Freddy's feel like more of an actual place, even if it is substantially bigger and more detailed than every other building around here. You can even see some strange Freddy Fazbear's Pizza competitor building in the distance, which I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be, but it's a neat detail. You enter the pizzeria, and you're met with a check-in desk with a menu above it, and the menu is used from another FNAF map, which is the FNAF 2 map by Keithy. Many of the assets in this map were taken from the FNAF 2 map from Garry's mod, which is fine, although some of these assets don't really fit in, like you'll see later with the arcade machine, but... Got some soda machines here, just your standard check-in desk, nothing really too fancy here. There's a sink and a coffee machine back here, so clearly like something for the employees. There's a locker room, which is kind of the most boring room in the entire pizzeria, if I'm going to be honest. Well, honestly, no, the supply closet might be more boring, but this room is also pretty uninteresting. But I get it, because you need to fill out the building so all the windows can actually go somewhere. You can see a picture on the wall behind the check-in desk where there's actually a picture of the game theory screenshot that the map was based on, which is really funny. And I feel like it's probably a good time to go on a little side tangent about this pizzeria, because it's actually a real Chuck E. Cheese location located in Indiana. And I would honestly argue this is one of the most iconic Chuck E. Cheese locations ever, just because of how iconic the exterior is. I feel like when a lot of people think of Chuck E. Cheese, this is the image that comes to their mind. And I just wanted to say this because it's a big shame that pretty recently, as in like 2021, I believe, the place was remodeled. And, it's looking kind of rough now. You can see this chibi Freddy art, which was also on the sign of the pizzeria, and I'm not really sure what this is from, or if the creator made it, or if it was taken from Google or something, but this image is in the map about twice. It's in the check-in desk, and it's out in the front of the pizzeria, and I'm not really sure what's up with it. I don't know why it's not just like a regular Freddy image, but oh well. You can see the FNAF 2 drawings on the wall. This is a nice little area to start the pizzeria with. You can go into the backstage here, where you will see just a bunch of shelves and stuff, nothing really interesting. But then there's this arcade machine for the Save Them minigame from FNAF 2, which features a note on it that reads,
Listen, Frank, I don't care if your brother made the damn game. This is not appropriate for children. Liam.
Now, I don't think this is really relevant to this map's lore, or the lore of the original FNAF 2 map, now that I think about it. I'm not sure what this note was ever meant to mean, but this has been in a lot of FNAF maps because of that original FNAF 2 map, and I don't really know what it's supposed to mean. I don't know who Liam and Frank are. I don't know who Frank's brother is, but yeah, something's going on here, I'm sure, but I'm not really sure, and I don't really think it's relevant to the whole story of this, but I guess it could be because the developer left it in here, so I guess I don't know. It's very weird. I'm not sure what's up with this. Now, this map does have a few additions to the original FNAF map you might expect, and one of them is the manager's office, and honestly, not really sure what's up with this room. I mean, it's very, very large. Like, there's so much empty space in this room. There's no windows or anything. It's just a very odd room, I guess. I don't know. You'd think that it would be a bit smaller, I guess, because, like, the desk space takes up, like, 2% of this entire floor space. Why is this room so large? It's not even like they'd hold meetings in here either, because it's not like there's extra seats or anything. I'm not really sure what was up with this. But yeah, I guess whoever is the CEO or manager in this universe just really wanted a lot of office space. Maybe like runs laps around it. But right outside the manager's office and another door, we can see the party rooms, which are another pretty boring area of the map. I'm not really sure why though. I guess it's just because there's not really a lot of open space, or there's too little open space, but I don't know. This area is not very fun to sit around in. I haven't really used it much in my time using this map throughout the years, but it's appreciated. Heading right past the parts and services room, we can see the main dining area with the show stage and Pirates Cove, and this is a fantastic area. It is just the right size, there's just the right amount of open space, the stages are very, very big. I love this area. And it really just enables a lot of freedom and possibilities for how you could decorate this location for saves, or how you can mess around in it for sandbox. I think this is a very, very easy area to play around in. The stage being so large seems odd, but also it means you could fit like 20 animatronics on it, which I don't mind at all. Pirate's Cove is also a lot more of a blank slate rather than a full-on Pirate's Cove. Like, there's no curtain or anything, which I honestly think is pretty cool. There's also the obligatory bathrooms in this map, which, like, yeah, the pizzeria needs them, but also, they're just kind of bathrooms, not really much to say. This map also has a rarity for FNAF maps, which is a fully featured kitchen, which looks very, very nice, actually. There's a freezer room in the back, even though that's not even a freezer, and it's kind of weird. Like, what do you mean the freezer doesn't freeze things? I guess it's just a storage room, but weird. Going down the left hallway will lead you towards a doorway that has the party room, just another entrance to them. There's also the supply closet I mentioned earlier, which is pretty uneventful. Then we can find the security office, which I'll admit is pretty boring, but I do really like the feature of the window in the back of the office. I think that's a very, very cool idea, and I wish more FNAF games really tried to put something behind you in the office, because I feel like that just adds a lot more tension to gameplay. Going back into this area, we will find not much, but we will find this weird plushie. Thank you to Bulbasquirtle for joining me on this awesome daytime map.
What is this? It didn't load in. What is this weird plush on the thing? It's like a cat or something.
Yeah, nobody knows what this is. This is just a thing that's on the map. I don't know what the fuck this is.
Let's bring him to the roof and throw him off the roof.
Alright, I'm gonna throw him.
Do it. Try to yeet him as far. Oh my god. Where's the Oh yeah, and then in your classic Venturian Tale video, then they'd have like the little camera pull out and then they'd zoom in on it.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Yeah, get that beautiful shot.
Oh yeah. There's also the game area from FNAF 2 in this map, which is nice. It has some arcade machines here, kind of a small arcade though. And then the prize counter is also here. Seems like it was kind of a thing for old FNAF maps to just not really know what arcades are supposed to look like. And this is nothing unique to this map. Scott's guilty of this himself. I'm glad Security Breach in the movie kind of introduced what arcades are supposed to look like in the FNAF, because that's always been something very weird to me in the early days of FNAF, how, like, there wasn't a single fan-made location that had a legit arcade. Going back through the office, there is another room over here, which is quite an interesting one. It is basically just this little breaker room thing. I'm not really sure what this weird computer is, to be honest. But then we've got William Afton's workshop back here, which is very interesting. Reminds me a lot of the movie, honestly, and I'm really glad this is here, because this is a pretty cool area. And if you walk into a certain door in this room, you'll find a certain someone. Oh yeah, walk through this door. Walk through that door. No, that door.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's just the outside. My god!
The purple guy! So yeah, a lot of these maps have hidden purple guy jump scares if you walk into certain rooms. I believe there's 3 purple guy jump scares across all the maps, so, interesting. Now, the roof of the map does have a big open area, which I think is nice to have on a map like this. I think it's definitely very useful for sandbox. One very funny thing, though, is that the roof has a helicopter pad, for the helicopters that land on top of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It makes sense. And yeah, that basically covers all our bases for the original daytime version of the map. And this map still holds up pretty dang well, honestly. I think it works really well as a sandbox map still. I think it worked well as a FNAF location still. It's just a very, very fun map, and I really, really enjoy it. And even after all these years, it has not gotten old. So now we're gonna dive into the more obscure corners of this map, which is all of the various alternate versions of it, which there are a shocking amount of them. Like, there are so many versions of this map, and they all are just like slightly different versions of the same pizzeria, outside of Fazbear's Fright, which we will look at. So the nighttime version, I don't really have a lot to say about it. It's basically what you expect. It is a darker, spookier version of the same map, with minimal changes. Which is all it needs to be. It's the same map, but if you want it to have spookier lighting, which is cool. Although the William Afton backroom of this map is missing for some reason, like the door just doesn't lead anywhere and you can't open it or anything. Not really sure why they removed the room for the nighttime version, but yeah, that kind of makes this a downgrade, but it's still cool.
Dude, I swear if Freddy Fazbear tries to sell me insurance again, I'm gonna scream.
Also, thank you to Daggz for joining me on this section. So, you're probably wondering, what the heck does a Freddy Pizza old mean? Well, you could assume that it's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, like, in the future after it's abandoned, like the building is old now. But no, it's actually, like, old as in, like, in the past. Back when it used to be Fredbear's Family Diner. Ignore the fact that that's just regular Freddy on the sign. I swear, this is Fredbear's Family Diner. Look, it says it right there. Of course it is.
Oh, me, CEO, E. To children every day, the end.
It was awesome. There's really
he, me.
So yeah, this is the first really lore-heavy map of this series, which makes sense since, you know, it is Fredbear's. It is canonically the earliest one in the timeline. Or at least I think, because there is a poster of Toy Freddy in the supply closet. I think this is left here by accident, because I don't think this is supposed to be here, because it makes no sense timeline-wise. I guess not even the creators of the map cared about the supply closet. But there's tons of cryptic lore of this map that shows us that there are, in fact, 4 different purple guys, a blue guy named GM, and a red guy who is the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment. We know that 2 of these purple guys wore suits. One of them wore the purple Freddy suit and the other one wore the golden Freddy suit. And that the one in the purple Freddy suit both controls the animatronics and is the one making all these notes on the walls. We can even get a jump scare from him on this very map.
Okay.
There's so many versions of this map. I can't.
Oh god, purple guy!
Oh. And we also know that another one of the purple guys is the phone guy, who is also the security guard. Some other things that are probably worth noting is that pink guy apparently did wear the purple Freddy suit at one point, even though he's supposed to be the one wearing the golden Freddy suit. Spring Bonnie does exist in this continuity, but it's really not really known who actually wore the Spring Bonnie suit. And that there's also a red Freddy who is the CEO's bear costume. There is not, to my knowledge, there is not a single appearance of this red Freddy in any of the maps outside of one room in the credits of the final version of the map. So, I'm not really sure what's up with this guy. In the room right behind where the purple guy jump scare is, we can see a torn apart Freddy animatronic, which I assume is supposed to be the scene from FNAF 3 where he goes into the safe room and tears apart the animatronics back there after luring them in with the Shadow Freddy suit, which would add up honestly more in this continuity than it does in the game continuity, because this is the only instance of William using the purple Freddy suit in the game continuity, and it's really funny. But in this continuity, the purple Freddy suit is William's suit. That is the one that he used. But yeah, a lot of interesting lore in this map, but not a whole lot of actual new things to the map. There's honestly less content than there was before, but I guess the new room is cool. Kind of weird that it replaces the bathrooms though, because now the building has no bathrooms. And there's also obviously several instances in this map of toy animatronic branding, which means that this map could possibly take place after the other maps, which would honestly make sense going off of the drawings, but it is very interesting to think about how in this continuity, Fredbear's Family Diner was probably a rebrand that happened after Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is just such a weird thing to have, but it's interesting. I respect this map so much for how much lore it tries to have. Even if I don't understand much of it, I think it's so interesting. A lot of fan content tries to be respectful to the canon, but just ends up being biased towards certain theories, but this just says, screw all of that, I'm going to make a completely different story than the one in the games. And you know what? That's respectable. I don't really know where else I would mention this, so I'm also going to mention that Shadow Freddy, or Purple Freddy, and he's called Purple Freddy in this universe. Purple Freddy was an actual animatronic that existed, but then it appears to kind of convey that William kind of took the innards out of the animatronic and then used it as a suit, Or if his name is actually William, it might be like Vincent or something, going off of this era of the fandom. But yeah, there was just like a purple Freddy animatronic that was just like a regular animatronic at the pizzeria that William basically skinned and wore, so that's awesome. But yeah, I guess it's about time to move on to the next map in the series, which is... Now, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Kill Case is both one of the most interesting maps and also one of the least fun to play on. There's some crazy lighting stuff going on with this map, with the lightning striking and the police car in the front, and it is all very, very laggy with all the constantly changing lighting on the map. There's not really much different at all about the interior of the pizzeria with this map, so there's not really much I can comment on. There's just kind of some blood in random places, not really anything interesting. However, the front entrance of the pizzeria now has a big condemned sign. There are police cars outside which are specifically for Westmont, Illinois. And we can see 5 body bags, which are supposedly the missing children. So yeah, in this continuity, they just found them, I guess. Which I will say is a very interesting way to take a FNAF story. I don't know I guess they just found the kids. Happy ending? Maybe? I guess not happy because they still died. Just a very, very weird detail to just kind of like have it so the kids were found. I just think that's really interesting. I'm not sure what the purpose of this plot revelation is, but it sure did happen in this universe. And also, the back room of the pizzeria is indeed locked, which means that William's likely back there, hiding from the cops, who are currently outside. They also got some military cars out here, which I think is awesome. I like the thing about the army swarming Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. There's also a big emblem on one of the walls in the pizzeria, which is a logo that features a bat, and it's for a place called the Scientific Research and Development. And this bat might look a bit familiar, because it is actually the same character as the plushie in the back room of the pizzeria. And there's also an animatronic version with a just beautiful looking model, who does make an appearance in the lobbies of the events version and the remastered version, but it doesn't seem to have any actual appearances on the maps itself. And there doesn't really seem to be a lot of info on what the Scientific Research and Development Organization is, and why they have an animatronic based on their character and a plushie inside of the children's pizzeria. It's kinda weird. But hopefully by the end of this investigation, we will know a little bit more about this fella. And there's one more little lore detail on this map that I'm not really too sure about, and that's this weird thing on the wall. Now, it didn't actually load on my screen, but for some reason on Daggz's screen, it did show up, and it's this strange whiteboard.
It's like a drawing for me.
There's nothing there on my screen. Send me a screenshot.
It says Friends and Park.
Send me a screenshot. I can't see this. Alright, let me look here. Oh my gosh, that's so, your quality is terrible. This is rendered in like 144p.
Oh, what the hell? Is this one better?
Yeah. Now, as to what this can mean, your guess is probably as good as mine. You can see an amusement park with balloons and tents and a Ferris wheel in the background, a bunch of bears and bunnies with bow ties. It says Friends and Park in the corner. You can see one of the bears is crossed off, and it says Die directly beneath it. I literally do not know what character this could be meant to be drawn by, so if you have any ideas, leave it in the comments because I'm kinda stumped on this one. All of the other drawings in the building clearly appear to be drawn by the same character, but this one is very deliberately in a different style. It also depicts a location and event that we know nothing about. But yeah, that about concludes what I have to say about Freddy Pizza Kill Case. And since this has easily been the most lore-heavy section of the video, I think it's an appropriate time to mention probably one of the most obscure pieces related to this whole thing, but also arguably the most impressive. What if I told you there was a full animated series based on the backstory of this specific Gmod map, and it's also very well made, and it's also the craziest fan fiction I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, does that pique your interest? think to just straight up explain the plot of the series to you guys would both be a very difficult task and also would be a disservice to the series, because the most viewed episode of the series has under 300 views right now, and that's a shame, in my opinion. Because not only is this series extremely, shockingly well animated, but it's also just crazy, and I almost respect just the sheer insanity of the decisions that the creator made with the series. Everything about this series is absolutely nuts, and I think it is genuinely one of the most entertaining fan fictions I've ever watched, just out of sheer insanity. So it starts off how you'd expect it with William Afton killing the kids and stuff, but then it turns into a battle between all the different employees of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza for a bunch of literal gold. William Afton kills everybody, becomes partners up with the shadow government, and he has to defeat his evil coworkers and stuff, or he's evil, I don't know. I don't know who's the good guy in this series. Everybody is literally an antagonist. I don't think there's a single character in this series that is actually a good guy. Something that this series pulls as a crazy interpretation of Scott's FNAF lore is that every single individual purple guy sprite that we see in FNAF 2 and 3 is a completely different person. And that's crazy, but it's also kind of funny, and I love it. It's very unnecessary, but the series really doesn't care about that. It's just here to do whatever the hell it wants and tell whatever the heck this story is supposed to be about. William Afton joins the shadow government at one point, and he has to take down the military of several different countries. He hires the Russian military to give him a nuke. He goes to Black Mesa from Half-Life at one point. I just want to say, if you love crazy fanfictions, or just, crazy series in general, go watch this. It barely has anything to do with FNAF. It completely loses the plot after, episode 2, but it is genuinely the craziest thing I've ever seen in this community, and I think it is so criminally underappreciated. That being said, though, the creator of this is a complete weirdo. He's got some very, very, damning stuff in his Twitter media tab, so I am going to give a extremely strong advisory to not go on his, Twitter accounts and stuff. It's, this guy's a kind of a creep. So, yeah, I feel like that is just, 100% worth mentioning. This guy's a creep, so, maybe just, stay away from his Twitter. I think the creator of this might be an actual crazy person. I'm gonna be completely honest. For context of what it is, there are explicit images of underage fictional characters, which is obviously extremely weird, and, yeah, I do not in any way support the weird shit guy's into. He's weirdo. I'm just here to talk about his funny FNAF series, but yeah, the creator of this series is a very, very, very weird person, and I would not recommend contacting or talking to him in any way, or just, engaging with any of his other socials other than just, his YouTube and stuff to watch the series. But yeah, I'm probably just as disappointed as you are to hear that this guy's a creep. Onto the events map now. So, if you don't know what an events map means, which I literally talked about this earlier in the video, but it's basically a map where things can happen and there's kind of a story-ish. Basically just Garry's Mod maps that have their own self-contained games within them. And this map has one of those, and it's honestly pretty impressive. I'd say it's probably more well-made than the original FNAF map, but that could just be because it probably reused a lot of assets from that. But either way, the animatronic AI does work a lot better in this one, which is good. It does function better objectively, but I don't quite think it gets the idea of what makes a FNAF game fun quite right. Because this map has a very similar layout to FNAF 1, just with a few extra rooms. But there's about 4 more animatronics, plus the puppet, plus Golden Freddy, plus Shadow Freddy. So, as you could probably assume, the roster of this map is pretty dang bloated. Especially for a map where every single animatronic has the exact same mechanic of simply closing the door on them. so it gets a little tiring when there's like 20 different animatronics in the pizzeria, and they all literally do the exact same thing except for the puppet. And after watching Case's minigames, I feel like this is the best time in the video to mention that I said some misinformation earlier for parts of the video that I recorded before I knew that the series existed. This is not William Afton. This is a different guy who calls himself, Freddy of King. This is William Afton. Specifically, the pink guy is William Afton, who wore the golden Freddy suit. So, just so you guys know, that is not William Afton. That's a different purple guy. I just wanted to... The lobby. So the lobby starts off in this strange small room with a desk, some plushies, a map of the pizzeria, and a lot of buttons to select different game modes. It also has a weird alphabet carpet on the ground. I'm not really sure why this is here, but I guess you could learn your ABCs on this map. And then in the door, there is a control room, which features Purple Freddy, who is controlling all the animatronics, as was established in the drawings earlier. And this is a pretty neat scene. I'm not really sure why he's here, or why there's like little tiny animatronics all over the table. I'm not really sure what the significance of these are, but they're here. There's also a bunch of artwork on the wall that just like shoots you in the face with nostalgia. This is so crazy to look at nowadays. And there is a mechanic of this map where other players can actually control the animatronics using this room, which I honestly think is a pretty dang cool feature. I do believe the original FNAF map had this to some degree, but it wasn't this sophisticated. Now, the phone calls in this map are directly reused from FNAF 2 and 3, which is kind of odd considering those are very not fitting towards what this map looks like. They even cut down the FNAF 2 phone calls to remove any mention of there being no doors or needing to wear the mask, because obviously this map is built off the FNAF 1 mechanics. But Phone Guy still mentions the older models sitting in the back room when the older models are right on front of the stage, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. If you used the FNAF 1 phone calls for this map, you wouldn't have to change anything, really. Just a very strange decision there. On night 3, it also just randomly plays a FNAF 3 Springlock tape, but, yeah. Nothing too interesting about the phone calls since they are just recycled from FNAF 2 and 3, but I thought it was worth mentioning that they're kind of weirdly unfitting. The animatronics in this map on the early nights do follow their pathing pretty well, but on the later nights they will just jump straight to your office if they feel like it, which does make the game much more hectic on the later nights, which I think is intentional, but it is a little strange how they don't really go through any sort of pathing once you get to the later nights. No, my camera!
I'm so sorry.
Stop this madness. Oh.
That actually startled me.
The animatronics still do move quite a bit though, especially Foxy, who you can actually watch run down the hallway, which is very cool. And as you could probably tell at this point, the toy animatronics are active at the same time as the regular animatronics in this map, and it kinda doesn't really add that much. Although they do make pretty funny faces, like look at Toy Freddy here, why is he so concerned? Look at Toy Freddy. Hi, Toy Freddy. He's sad!
He's sad?
Why is he sad?
Why is he sad?
Why is he so sad? Look at him. He's distraught. What happened to him? The window in the back of the office is used here for Easter eggs. There is a golden Freddy Easter egg and a purple Freddy Easter egg on this window, which I did get both of. However, there is another one which I didn't get, which involves this giant bat, and I'll play a clip of it right now.
¿Qué ha pasado? ¡Míralo! ¡Hay un murciélago! ¡Detrás! ¿Qué es eso?
Se me ha cerrado el juego.
Lo están viendo. ¿Ves? Da igual, lo están viendo. Hay un murciélago, un gato.
This Easter egg is actually kind of crazy, and I really wanted to get it, but I just couldn't, very sadly. A big issue with this map gameplay-wise is the fact that there's 5 nights, which is very, very cool, and there's also bonus nights, and the bonus nights can be selected whenever you want, but the original 5 nights have to be played all in a row back to back, which is obviously a bit tiring when the gameplay is this mind-numbing. The music box for the puppet in this map is also extremely finicky, so there's an off chance that it just won't work, and when that happens, the puppet killing you sends you all the way back to night 1. which is terrible. But hey, look at Purple Freddy. He's moving around the map. Look at him. He's so cool. Man, I love Purple Freddy, guys. Is Purple Freddy your favorite FNAF character after this video? He's mine. Golden Freddy in this map basically just acts like a regular animatronic, except he can still do the thing where he shows up in your office as an Easter egg, but I don't believe there's a way to defend against him. I think he literally will just kill you if he shows up like that, which is so fun. It's not really that big of an issue though, because I didn't mention this before, but being jump scared in this map has no penalty. Like, you can just walk back through the door and you're perfectly fine back in the night where you were. The only animatronic that resets the night is the puppet. So, although beating this map does take a bit, it is 100% doable as long as the puppet doesn't get you. Because no matter how bad you are at the game, as long as the music box is wound up, you can make it to night 5. Which is obviously extremely broken. I'd like my FNAF game to be challenging in some way, but oh well. A good thing about the map is that the nights aren't too horribly long, they're pretty decent length. Which is good, because if nights like this were too long, then man, this game would just not be playable. But for being essentially an entire original FNAF fan game made entirely in Gmod, it's very, very impressive. It is probably the most authentic Source Engine FNAF game you could possibly play out there. And although the game is pretty clunky in a lot of ways, it does blend together the feeling of Garry's mod in Half-Life with the feeling of FNAF pretty decently. The large open design of the map is clearly designed for how fast you run in Garry's mod, and although it's a bit unconventional for a FNAF pizzeria, it feels very good to play around in. And I also think its method of blending FNAF 1 and 2 together is pretty decent, even if all of FNAF 2's mechanics besides the music box were kinda lost in translation. If you're going to play this map, I would 1000% recommend playing with a friend, because that just makes the experience a billion times better. This map is kind of honestly boring alone, but if somebody's with you while you're playing through this map, you're gonna have a good time. There's also some extra rooms in the lobby area, with nothing that's too noteworthy, that's just kind of the same kind of stuff you'd see on the maps. There's a little cases minigames referenced in this one drawing, which is awesome. But the more interesting thing is this comic right here, which is, intriguing. Purple Guy job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Freddy Fazbear security the work, him as a security guard in day shift, and you got like little balloon animals on his desk and a white Freddy in the background. Purple person job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Freddy Fazbear security the work, him as a security guard in day shift. Him get that is a Freddy suit. He discovered it, Golden Freddy, this is a suit. This is Golden Freddy, purple person using that a suit. Child murder, 1 children's death, 6 children's died, him are undermining company's honor, phone guy find the stolen Freddy's suit, he is helps companies save them, phone guy finds the children's bodies, the before purple person stole this a Golden Freddy's suit, purple guy soon after he became a Freddy of King to control all animatronics. Purple guy destroyed all the animatronics, releasing ghost children, him why scared to death, later him was dead. I don't know what to make of this. I think this is the backstory of like the stuff that isn't said in Case's minigames, I think. I'm so confused. It's all in broken English. I don't think English is the developer's first language. I'm just gonna take a guess there. Purple guy soon after he became a Freddy of King to control all animatronics has gotta be the hardest line in any FNAF media ever, I think. Oh, and also there's a way to do custom night in this map too, which is pretty cool. There's also another map titled Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Events 2 that comes with this map, but it literally appears to be the exact same map, but with the Fazbear's Fright wall textures. I don't know what the point of this is. I've looked through it, and I literally cannot find a single difference. This is literally the same map, but the wall textures are different. I don't know why this exists. Oh, speaking of Fazbear's Fright... The Fazbear's Fright's map of this series is pretty dang similar to the one in the games. There is this cool lobby area with the stage that I assume Springtrap would go on, which I think is pretty awesome, but the overall map is very, very derivative of the original Fazbear's Fright map from FNAF 3, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it does give it a lot less of the originality that the other maps did. That being said, though, it's still a very, very well done recreation of Fazbear's Fright, and it does have that open map design that the other map does. It still has the roof and everything to run around on, the exterior is still all intact, but yeah, nothing really too interesting to say about this map. And it kind of sucks that I can't say more about this map, because it is a very, very well-made map. It's a very good recreation of the FNAF 3 map, but it's not too interesting. But still, as I said, very good map in its own right, and still absolutely worth playing, just doesn't have all the awesome lore that the other maps do. And speaking of the other maps, there are actually 3 more that we have not looked at. 2 of which are part of the remastered maps, and 1 of which is another one of the old maps, but I didn't really know where to fit it in earlier, so I'm just going to talk about it now real quick. This is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 16. And I don't know why it's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza 16, but it's just the same map, but there's a Christmas tree in the parking lot, and there's snow everywhere. And that's it. It's literally the same map, but there's a Christmas tree, and a single Christmas tree, just one, and snow everywhere, so very fun there. The interior of the building on this map is quite literally unchanged. There is not a single difference on the interior. However, there is a purple guy jump scare, or I guess a pink guy William Afton jump scare here, where he pulls up in his car, which is pretty neat.
Oh, purple guy car.
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot about that. He's here, he spawns. That's like the big thing about it. He looks at you if you watch him. Oh, there he goes.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Well.
That's the most interesting thing about this map. Purple guy spawns after a while.
So no.
The remaster. Now, the remake of the map, I cannot 100% confirm that it's made by the same creator. However, I'm pretty sure it's the same person, because I don't know who else would go make a remaster of somebody else's map, and also, they seem to type the same. I think they just changed their usernames, and their new username appears to be Moonlinite. And also, just everything in the map also points to the fact that this was probably made by the same person, so yeah, that's that. And I'm just going to highlight all the differences in the map rather than go on a full exploration like I have for the other ones. So to begin with the changes, this version of the map does have the lobby from the events version in the standard edition. I don't think the events version is officially available anymore, but yeah, the lobby is here, and there's also the funny cat guy who is apparently Springtrap.
What is this thing? Why does he look like Springtrap, kinda?
I don't know what you're seeing that I'm not, but okay. There's some very Cases Minigames influenced artwork on the wall, and then Purple Freddy's room where he would originally be controlling all the animatronics, all of his figures are knocked over, and he looks quite sad. It is a very sad sight to see. And you can also see a bunch of the rare screens that can pop up in the middle of the nights in the events version. I'm quite a fan of the Faz Ent Boss one. Speaking of those rare screens, there's another room where you can look at all of them in all their glory. And yeah, these sure are interesting. I'm not really sure what most of them mean, but they sure are. I don't know why there's repeated use of why you. I like the one that just says yourself. Heading upstairs, you can see a room with all 4 of the purple guys, all fully modeled in 3D, which is awesome to see. There's also this rare screen that just says, "It's there." I don't know what this could possibly mean. What does this mean? I'm literally shaking. We've got the whole cast. We got the Purpleception arcade machine. We've got Bonnie. We got Freddy. We got Golden Freddy. We got Purple Freddy. We got other Purple Freddy. We got Red Freddy, who I mentioned earlier, but this is his one appearance. This is his only place that he ever appears ever, so take that what you will. The front entrance to the pizzeria has been updated to include a vending machine and Dr. Breen's private reserve, which strengthens the Half-Life connections quite a bit. There's also some ugly curtains on the stage. I'm gonna be honest, these look kind of bad. These are a big downgrade. The door to the locker room is now on the side of the stage, which I don't know why, but that's where it is now. And there's also a janitor's closet on the other side of the stage, which renders the other closet even more useless than it was previously, which I did not think was possible. Pirate's Cove has also gained some curtains, which look better than the ones on the main show stage, but they're still probably a downgrade, to be honest. All of the posters in the map have been upgraded to become accuracy ones, which is very, very cool to see. I'm not sure if the creator actually made these or if they were stolen from somewhere, but they look nice. The manager's office has been filled with many more props, which just makes it look a lot better. It was way too open before. It's still very open, but this makes it look better. The cameras are now available in the non-events version of the map, which was not a thing before, which is neat to see. William Afton's warehouse is still here, along with his jump scare, but past his jump scare, you can find his garage, where you can see his awesome purple car, this terrifyingly metallic truck, and there's also a working garage door that leads to the outside of the pizzeria. In the bathroom hallway, there's another doorway, which leads to what appears to be the safe room. It seems like someone had a spring lock failure here. The kitchen has been given tons of pans and extra props, which just makes it look a ton better. And it's also been given a proper freezer, which is very, very welcome. There's even a snowman in here. How cute is that? And there's one final feature on the map, which is a full-on lockdown feature for the entire building. It puts big metal gates over all the doors and windows so nobody can leave or enter. And the switch to activate it is in the manager's office, which is pretty dang cool, and the feature of them actually animating shutting the gates is pretty cool looking. I'm not sure what the real advantage of having this is. I guess it's just a neat feature to have, and I guess you could make some cool roleplay scenarios out of it, but yeah. It's also noteworthy that once you activate this emergency lockdown switch, it does not appear to be reversible, so it just kind of closes down the pizzeria forever. But yeah, that's basically all the additional changes for the remastered version of the map, which was released in 2021. Now, the original map was from 2016, so going back all these years later and completely revising the map is pretty dang cool. And I do generally think all the changes are improvements, besides the curtains. Although the lore does not seem to be expanding anymore because this version of the map just kind of retreads and archives all the previously established lore and not much else. But it's still cool to see that this even exists in the first place. And I can confirm that this version of the map is just as fun as the original. And it's also probably worth mentioning there's an official Halloween version of this map, which is basically just the exact same map with some generic Halloween PNG slapped around everywhere. It's very silly, but it's kind of neat to explore. So, with all of my bases covered about this map, what conclusion can I truly come to about it? Well, I've learned that if you dig deep enough into something that most people don't think twice about, you're destined to find something pretty weird. And find something pretty weird I did. This map is truly like a time capsule to a specific era of the FNAF fandom that has long since gone. And that, paired with the video series paired with it, leads to probably one of the most interesting things I've ever researched on this channel. And I genuinely do have a lot of appreciation for just everything this series stands for, regardless of the creator sadly being a weirdo. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has definitely been one of the most stressful videos to make, but it's also been one of the most fun, and I wouldn't have it any other way. This video took me about 2 weeks straight of working, and I think it paid off with the end result, and I'm pretty dang proud of it, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.